Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to take a look at the Twas the Night Before Christmas Storybook. Do just a little short video to talk about the construction. Okay, let's take a look at this kit. This is from Hunkydory Crafts, and it's the Twas the Night Before Christmas Storybook kit. It has 10 pages of chipboard, which makes 5 back-to-back pages. Comes complete with the ribbon to bind it. Let's take a look at what you get in the kit. You get the actual storybook pages. These are a little bit lighter weight. I'm going to say they're made on maybe 180 to 200 GSM card would be my guess. And then we've got these frame pages. These are the backgrounds and the frames. And then you have all of these chipboard pages. So you're going to begin your process by punching out the chipboard pieces. And they should just, oops, I have 2 pages there. They should just pop right out of there. You get these really nice pieces of chipboard. We're not going to use these for our project, but save those because they're absolutely perfect for larger cards or for scrapbook pages. And because you're going to be matching all of these chipboard pages up with a coordinating piece of frame material, you'll actually have foil toppers to go on top of those chipboard pages that are also free to use with other projects. So let me show you what I did. I, of course, punched out all of those pieces, the frames and all the chipboard pieces. Then you need to kind of do a little bit of matching. You're going to match each of the frames up with a corresponding piece of chipboard. Now they included this really nice little instruction sheet, which is actually pretty good. But basically you're going to adhere each sheet to its matching chipboard piece. I've done some of my pages already here. So I'm going to adhere these. Then I'm going to put this page, I'm going to adhere this to the back. So once I have that completed unit, I'm going to adhere the back piece, which happens to be this, to this. Now I did want to point out that not every page has frames. There are actually, just to, I think it's to add to the sturdiness of the book, they've actually given you a couple of full chipboard pages that you just then tape your toppers onto. And when I've completed this little packet, I'll put that all together, matching up the holes on the back. I'll make the two-sided book page. So this will really be 2 pages of my book. Now I've already done a number of these, and let me show you what I've done. Here's my cover. And I've decided to actually assemble mine using my Xyron machine. Now I know that not everybody has Xyron, and that's not going to be an option for everybody. If you do have a Xyron machine, it's a great way to go if you have the 9-inch or larger Xyron machine, because you can run the full pieces through and then you get full sheet adhesion clear out to the edges. If you don't have that, don't worry. A glue bottle will work really well for this project as well. What I do recommend, though, if you're gluing, is that you're kind of spreading your glue as you go, because this is fairly lightweight paper you're putting on top. You don't want your paper to ripple, and you don't want to have glue lines underneath your paper. So just spread your glue as you go when you're putting your pages together. Just spread it with your finger a little bit. Keep a baby wipe or a wet washcloth handy, wipe it off, and then do some more and just spread your glue about a little bit. The other thing that I did is as I finished my 2-page work, is that I didn't like the look of all that chipboard. So what I did then was I took one of my alcohol markers and I just went around the edge. And I inked the edges so that I get a really nice finished look. Now, one of the questions that somebody asked me about these books when they were looking at the kits is, are these books going to be nice and sturdy? Well, you have 2 pieces of chipboard, 2 frames, and 2 images in each of these little packets. So I'd say yes, it's absolutely sturdy. Take a look at the beautiful printing that they've done here. I mean, the images are just stunning, really, really nice, and the poetry work is beautiful also. So you have the complete story of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and I've got 3 of my pages completed. I have 2 more to do. I thought I'd just go ahead and complete these pages on camera. Now remember, I'm using a Xyron machine. You may not have access to that, but again, gluing these 2 pages together with glue or taping them with tape, as long as you're getting right to the edges, will be fine. And doing the same here, taping, I would tape to the back of this piece rather than taping around your images, because you don't want any of your tape to show through. So tape here and around to really capture and hold your images in place also. So that's where we're going with that. I'm going to go off camera for just 1 second while I run a couple of these pieces through the Xyron machine. Go ahead and peel back my outer layer, which, as you know, if you're familiar with Xyron, what that does is it picks up all the adhesive that's not used to hold our item in place, and it creates a big sticker out of the remainder, so that this entire sheet has just become a sticker. I'll carefully peel this off. Once again, the advantage, if you have access to a Xyron, is that you're creating one large sticker, and every part of this is going to be permanently stuck to your page. So I'm going to match this up carefully before I touch it down. I've got it where I want it, and I just press it in place. And now that is permanently adhered. Okay, next, I'm just going to go ahead and put this on with some tape, because it doesn't make sense to use the Xyron to do this piece. So I'm going to pull my tape in, and I'm going to tape it down this side. I just want to make sure that my tape's staying out of view through these little windows that we are creating here and here. And that should be plenty to hold this picture, especially since these images here are kind of sandwiched between the 2 pages. As long as it stays in place until I get the rest of, oops, that just peeled right off. As long as it stays in place until I get the rest of the page constructed around it, it's never going to go anywhere. I think I'll tear that in the middle, both ways, as we so often do with our tape. Do the same thing here. Peel that both directions. Now this, I mentioned before, this little instruction sheet. I think we're probably all familiar with the story that 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. But this is going to give you the order of your pages too, so you'll be able to see which pages go on the back and which ones go on the front by looking at this guide. This particular page that we're doing is going to be a front page. And I'm just going to match this up to where my frame and my saying are clearly viewed through the window. There we go. Okay. All right, next. Back cover. This is going to be my next page. So I'm going to adhere this. Yeah, I want to just pan out one and see what the Xyron machine looks like. Bryce is our cameraman. Say hi, Bryce.
Hello.
This is a giant Mundo shop version of this machine. They make them in all different sizes, from little tiny sticker machines that are 2 inches to this Mundo machine. Anything over 9 inches should handle this book. So if you have the 9-inch or larger machine, that should take care of things. I'm going to peel my sticker. I'm going to adhere it to its page. And now it's down for good. And then I'm going to add these images. Most of the images that you get are glued to the back, and they don't say anything different about these in the directions, but these are actually punch out and apply images here. Now I want to make sure that I get those on there nice and straight. So I'm going to put my tape on the back of these and then use that frame as a template to make sure that I get these on there correctly placed and straight. So I'll put my little tape on the back here. I could either put the words on the top or the words on the bottom. They were on the bottom, so I think I'll just put it together the way that they had it on the sheet. And I'm going to slide this up to where it just fits right in that square that I took it from. I'll do the same with this one, then I'll lift off my frame and my images will be right in the right place. I have noticed with the Xyron machine that it's easier to get a really nice coverage using the single sheets rather than the whole packets. I have tried on some of my pages to run this full page through so that I can stick. Did I just do that backwards? I do believe I did. I'm going to have to pull these up, guys. I always like making mistakes on camera. I don't really, but if I'm going to make a mistake, I'd rather make it on camera so you can see you're not the only ones that do that. I should have had my page in the correct position before I put these down. I don't think I'll need my guides to show me where these should go, since I can pretty clearly see where I just took them off. But it's no harm, no foul. Get them right back on there. There we go. That was not one of my finer moments, but that's okay. So I could, if I choose, run that back through the Xyron machine, or I can just glue or tape those together. But you can see that these are going to easily sandwich that inside piece in. And this adds a lot of stability to the book, these double pages. We're going to go off camera for just a minute while I do a couple more Xyron runs here. While we were off camera, I went ahead and put this page together. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just taking the chisel end of my prism marker here. You could do this with Spectrum Noir or any other alcohol marker that you have. I do recommend an alcohol marker rather than a water-based marker, or at least a permanent marker for this, because if this gets any liquid to it, as family use objects are known to do. What you don't want is that edge bleeding all over your book. And the alcohol marker is waterproof. It's not going to respond to water at all. So for that reason, I think an alcohol marker would be perhaps the tool for this job. That could include a Sharpie marker. Those are alcohol. Or like I said, your Spectrum or your Prism markers, whatever you have available. I'm kind of chewing up the nib of my marker with this cardboard, so something to take into consideration when you consider the price of whatever tool you use to do this border. It is kind of chewing up the nib a little bit. But it's really easy to change the border color. Doesn't that look better than that chipboard showing? I think it does. Okay, I've left these last ones open because I wanted to tell you about a conversation I had with my friend Thelma on the phone today. We were talking about this book, and she was saying it would be really nice if there was a way to add some family photos to this book. And one of the things we talked about was perhaps adding some family photos over this Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and letting the other images show, or maybe putting in 4 family photos. Since these books are really, kind of geared toward reading with children, having the kids have their own pictures in the storybook, I thought would be, and Thelma thought also, would be a really neat touch. Now, if you have those family photos, you could go ahead and put those in these squares by just putting it behind the frame, covering up, of course, these. Or if you don't have those photos and you're sending it on to your kids or, grandkids, you might consider, what Thelma and I talked about was maybe go ahead and tape one edge, maybe tape this edge to kind of hold this together while you put the book together, and then use some tape flags under here on these 3 sides so that this page could still slide out. They can add their photos, put it back in the book, get everything where they want it, maybe put a little bit of glue on the back there, and then pull the tape flags to seal it. We just thought that sounded like kind of a nice idea. This is the final page of the book, and it attaches to the back cover. So just a thought, something you might want to take into consideration. I thought it was kind of a neat idea. So do with it what you will, but we kind of liked it. And I'm going to go ahead and I think put these down, put my tape flags on it, because I want to remember to talk to any of my students in class about this idea. So I think I'm going to go ahead and construct mine the way we just talked about by putting a piece of tape here to hold these 2 frame pieces together. And then I'm going to put some tape flags here, 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 and here. I'm not even sure we have to do them in the form of tape flags, really. I think we can go ahead and tape this one piece down. Let's see if we can. I don't know, guys. We might have to do it ahead of time, or we might have to trim this back a little bit. Let's see where the adhesive goes to on our easy tear once we take the tape off. I guess if it's on there just a tiny bit, it's just going to hold things in place while you, let me see if we can actually remove that later. So it's in there, it's in the book, we're binding the book. I don't know, it might be better if you put those pictures in really before we finish it, because as nice as the tape flag thing sounds, it's going to be a really close call as to whether or not you can actually get this all together and bound and still use that. Still do that. So it might be better to go ahead and put those pictures in now. Just have them send them to you. Print them out on your printer and stick those family pictures in here. I do think that would be really fun to have those here. But I'm going to go ahead and put this together and we'll be right back. Okay, I finished off my book. I assembled my pages. I inked my edges, and now it's time to bind this. So let's take a look at what we might do to bind it. They give us this beautiful long piece of satin ribbon. It's way more ribbon than we're going to need, I think. And using the ribbon, we're going to push it through the hole. They say we can do this. I don't know. I think I need something else to use. What is long and skinny? I don't use a pokey tool that'll put a hole in my ribbon. I need, what I really need is like a knitting needle or
Paper clip.
paper clip. Now Hunkydory recommended pushing this through with a pen, but I was finding that a pen was just too wide. But I had a pokey tool that's missing the needle. If you have a stylus, like if you have a stylus for your laptop, a stylus would be great because it wouldn't be sharp on the end. I have a variety of, I think this might have worked okay, but I'm going to use this, pokey tool minus the needle to get mine done. This is way more ribbon than we're going to need to get this done. I'm going to put my ribbon through, then I'm going to cross over, and I'm going to push the ribbon back down through. And then I'm going to come the other way with my other piece of ribbon. I'm going to push this through. You gotta kind of pull your other ribbon out of the way. I'm going to push this on through, get a hold of that, and pull it through. And then I'm going to repeat the process. Come up here, take this ribbon from the back side, across to the front. I'm going to push it through. I'm going to go to the back, bring this one from the front, and push it through. Now, let me tell you as we're doing this that this is the second time I've made this book. Hunkydory released this project book, or one an awful lot like it 4 years ago, and I did one then. And I used a similar process, but I was disappointed in my results only in that it was too hard to open the pages of my book. So this time I went back and rewatched the Hunkydory video that they put out at the time that they made this, and they recommended, before tying this off at the top, loosening these ties, because as we're weaving this back and forth, this is getting pretty tight in here. We're going to loosen these up a bit before we tie this off at the top. So I'm just going to take my tool, whatever my tool is, again in my case my little pokey tool. As soon as I get it to feed through, there we go. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to loosen these ties up and let some of that let this become more lax all the way down. Just relax these ties a bit so that my book will open nicely. Am I still on camera at all?
A little bit.
I just realized the camera wasn't looking at all as I was loosening those ties. Now see, that's still going to be a little too tight, so I'm going to come back in. I'm going to give it some more slack. I'm going to loosen these up all the way down until I'm satisfied that my pages are going to have room to move. I don't want it to be sloppy, but at the same time, I want it to be really usable for years of use by my family too. Hopefully one day I'll be reading stories to grandchildren out of this book. Not too soon, Lauren and Jordan, but in time. Jordan, my oldest daughter, I asked her about children and she sent me an ultrasound of a dog. I guess I have my answer from Jordan for now. But it was cute, I gotta say. And I do love my grandpuppies. Someday grandchildren would be good too, but grandpuppies for now. Jordan's 22, so grandpuppies for now is a great idea. But in time, perhaps. So let's see now if I have these adequately loosened. There we go. Now my book will lay out flat. So you see the difference the first time versus this time? Now the pages will move and I can lay it out flat. And over time this will relax more, but I just wanted to make sure that I had plenty of room for movement there, which I think now we have. So tighten those just a little bit. And now I've got my satin zigzag coming up the back of my book, and I'm just going to tie myself a pretty bow at the top here. Nothing fancy, just tying it off. A little satin bow at the top here. I do want my bow to be tight because I do want my book to stay together. Leave some little tails. And my bow. Trim off my extra. And there we go. There is our Twas the Night Before Christmas storybook. All finished up for you. If you enjoy this, be sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see when we're offering other videos. I'll put a link to our newsletter in the comments section below. You can just click on that link and go right to where you can subscribe. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll be among the first to hear about new videos, specials, and coupon codes that are only for newsletter customers. I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.